Now we are this special type of thinking for enlightenment. Buddha normally told this and they became arahant at that time. So this first sutta also we can go through that. It's actually an old man, old devotee comes to the Buddha. He's very sick and very old, not sick, old. So he tells to tell in short a discourse to him. And the Buddha says, you are now old, but your body is sick, but make your mind not sick. Okay, but Buddha didn't explain detail. Then Sariputta Maharatan he asked, he looked so bright and all that, this old man, and he asked, you spoke to Buddha, and what did he say? He said, this is what he said. And then he asked, did you not ask Buddha more, but how body is sick and mind is not sick? And how body is sick, but mind is not sick? Like that, he questioned. Then Sariputta Maharatan he explains this discourse, this teaching. Yes, Venerable said the householder in page number 17. Last paragraph, towards the last paragraph. Yes, Venerable sir, the householder Nakulapita replied. The Venerable Sariputta said this. Householder, let's see how it is. Wait, we go to the top part. It was with them. Didn't it occur to you, householder, to question the Blessed One further as to how one is afflicted in body and afflicted in mind, and how one is afflicted in body but not afflicted in mind? We would come from far away, Venerable Sir, to learn the meaning of this statement from the Venerable Sariputta. It would be good indeed if the Venerable Sariputta would clear up the meaning of this statement. Then listen and attend closely, householder, I will speak. Yes, Venerable Sir, the householder Nakulapita replied. The Venerable Sariputta said this. How, householder, is one afflicted in body and afflicted in mind? Here, householder, now when you're reading these suttas, again, you must always relax your body, sit comfortably, and really relax yourself, where your third wisdom eye is going to be working. Then the uninstructed worldling, who is not a seer of the noble ones and unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, who is not a seer of superior persons and unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, regards form as self, or self as possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. Now this is a very special type of thinking. Now already we normally feel our body is ours. We have some view, some of this thing, okay? Now we are also trying to feel how we are feeling our ego. Not feel, we are trying to be aware. Then only we are going into that. We must now think we have one of these views, we have it already now. So we must just mentally picture, who is not see, regard form as self, or self as possessing form. Something called self, but form is inside that. Or form is in self, or self as in form. He lives obsessed by the notion, I am form, form is mine. As he lives obsessed by this notion, that form of his changes and alters. You must picture yourself. When you attach so much, this is my nails, this is my hair. When you cut, you feel sad, maybe. So you must just note it. It looks simple, but you have to learn to notice it in you, so that it will become, you will begin to get that special wisdom. I am, as he lives obsessed by this notion. Now when you attach to something like that, with the change and alteration of form, there arises in sorrow, lamentation, pain, depression, and despair. I know some beauty queen I got to know in not that I know personally. I got to know when I was studying, my psychology professor in the university in Nicosia. He told me how one of these, he was counseling one of these, I think in Cyprus or Nicosia, Cyprus, the Miss, world or whatever, whoever she was, she had an accident, they told me, and slight dislocation of her body somewhere, and how she went mentally, she was unable to accept it, take it. so much identified with that as mine, is me. Somewhere I got to know also when the tooth was removed, he committed suicide. I don't know whether it's really true or some. I think it might be true in some country. He couldn't accept it that he lost something of his. So, as he lives obsessed by this notion that form of it changes and alters, with the change and alteration of form, there arises in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He regards feeling as his self, or self as possessing feeling, or feeling as his self, or self as in feeling. He lives obsessed by the notion I am feeling, feeling is mine, as he lives obsessed by this notion that feeling of it changes and alters. With the change and alteration of feeling, there arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He regards perception as self, or self as possessing perception, or perception as in self, or self as in perception. He lives obsessed by the notion I am perception, perception is mine, as he lives obsessed by this notion that perception of his changes and alters. With the change and alteration of perception, there arises him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. The same thing he regards volitional formations, he regards consciousness as self, like that. It is in such a way, householder, that one is afflicted in body and afflicted in mind. And how, householder, is one afflicted in body but not afflicted in mind? Here, householder, the instructed noble disciple, who is a seer of the noble ones and skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, who is a seer of superior persons and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, does not regard form as self, or self as possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. He does not live obsessed by the notions I am form is mine, as he lives unobsessed by these notions that form of his changes and alters. With the change and alteration of form, there do not arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, despair, and despair, displeasure and despair. So it's same in regards to feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. He does not regard consciousness as self, or self as possessing consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. He does not live obsessed by the notion I am consciousness, consciousness is mine, as he lives unobsessed by these notions that consciousness of it changes and alters. With the change and alteration of consciousness, there do not arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. It is in such a way, householder, that one is afflicted in body but not afflicted in mind.